Hey, what's up guys? Today I got a super fun Prismatic Warlock Lightning Surge build for you. And before we get into it, I just gotta do my shilling thing. I got channel memberships, 99 cents if you'd like to join. I also have a code for advanced GG. More on that later, but Spycer 10, use that at checkout. I get a percentage of that and you get 10% off. So, yeah, on with the video. To do this build, you can use whatever super you want. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is we're on Prismatic Warlock using Arcane Needle with Lightning Surge. While technically speaking, Arcane Needle has the longest cooldown, having 3 charges does help it. And the more charges you have, the faster the next charge will charge. So it doesn't matter that it has like a minute longer cooldown than the others. You get 3 of them. So, Lightning Surge, Arcane Needle, great combo. Then, for our other aspect, we're going to use Feed the Void. This will give us Devour, great survivability to have while we're using Lightning Surge. You get up in enemies' faces, you get a kill, that gives you Devour, which also gives you Grenade Energy. While I do like the Phoenix Dive class ability, so I chose that, your grenade really doesn't matter. I was using Cold Snaps to help balance out my light and dark damage with Prismatic, and I kind of suggest you do the same. Getting that shatter damage really helps. You can use Threadling Grenades to achieve the same goals. But if you're really worried about survivability, you may want to lean over to Healing Grenade, or just kind of honestly don't use this build. This build is not meant for higher end content. Just putting that disclaimer out now. This is a super fun build to use if you're running Onslaught or just some Strikes or Gambit or just having a goof around time in Destiny 2. This is a great build for that. It's super fun. But yeah, with that being said, let's go on to this build. Now, keeping in mind that Feed the Void gives you 2 fragment slots, Lightning Surge gives you 3. So we do have 5 slots to work with when it comes to fragments. And I chose some prismatic fragments that are on the easier side to get and do a pretty good job at buffing this build. So we got the Facet of Justice, the Facet of Balance, the Facet of Dawn, Protection, and Purpose. This will give us different buffs. So when we're near enemies, we'll have damage resistance. More so in Transcendence. Also, in Transcendence, well, our melees are buffed, and you know, light damage gives us more melee energy, and you know, we'll get more into that here in a second. But those are the 5 fragments that I chose for this build. They help you with your melee, they help protect you by keeping you alive. Purpose, especially depending on your super. I went with good old, oh my god, what's the new solar super? I went with the new solar super, which gives me restoration with Purpose, but you could change it out for Void and you'll get Void Overshield, which could help you in different ways. But, you know, I just chose the solar super because it's really good and it synergizes with the exotic we're using, which is Necrotic Grips. And I chose Necrotic Grips because not everyone is willing to do Dual Destiny, even though I think you really should. It's a great mission. Go ahead and do it. But if you're willing to do Dual Destiny and you have the Warlock Bond, a role you want to look for is pretty much anything with Spirit of Necrotic on it. I would suggest either Spirit of Synthoceps or Spirit of the Claw as the other slot. Claw for the extra melee, and then you have Synthoceps for just more damage. If you're playing on lower end content, just grab Claw for a 4th charge of Lightning Surge. Otherwise, Synthoceps would be a better option for you. Now, with all of that being said, what are we using for our loadout? What weapons are we running? We're going to run... Okay, I know not everyone has this. It's a raid weapon. I usually shy more so away from raid weapons in my builds. But we're going with Posterity. It's a 180 Arcane Cannon, has Volt Shot, Frenzy as a roll, and most importantly, we have that Origin trait, which will give us that good old ability energy on hit, which is great. That's an amazing origin trait. The Bray Inheritance origin trait is nuts. Other weapons I'm running are the Call and Grand Overture. The heavy slot you can completely change, use whatever you want there. I do suggest you use a darkness aligned weapon in your kinetic slot. The Call is a perfect option. It's an amazing weapon. Mine is Slice Vorpal. May not be the best roll, but I really enjoy that roll. I want to speak more on Posterity and kind of why I love it. My roll on it that I use is Frenzy Volt Shot, and yes, Frenzy does buff the damage on Volt Shot in that case. Plus, I get ability energy from each time Volt Shot hits with it. So, it's really solid, but if you want to go pure ability focused Posterity, you could do Pugilist with Wellspring, plus the Bray Inheritance origin trait, and you are generating a ton of melee energy on killing. So that's kind of great. But, you know, not everyone wants to do Deepstone Crypt, which I highly encourage you find a team to do it, because I love Deepstone Crypt. It is my favorite raid of all time. But nonetheless, some other weapons I could point out to you would be like Point of the Stag. It can run Pugilist and Swashbuckler. That's a good combo. The new Pulse Rifle for Echoes. Is it out yet? I don't believe so. But when it does come out, it can roll Pugilist Swashbuckler. And there are other weapons that can roll stuff similar to that. So keep your eye out, like Brigand's Law. Brigand's Law has Pugilist Swashbuckler. Pretty good roll for this build. So just keep your eye out on Pugilist rolls or Wellspring rolls, especially if you can do both with Swashbuckler, especially on an arc. It doesn't need to be an arc weapon, but, you know, if you keep it the same as your heavy exotic, then your primary will be keeping up with your heavy and yada yada. Bunch of stuff. But, you know, I had Posterity crafted, and Posterity is amazing. So I went ahead and just used Posterity. If you have it, please use it. You know, it's really good. If you don't, I get it. So that's why I chose Posterity. I just really love it. Next, we'll talk about our artifact a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean very little. I'm just going to point out 4 of the mods I have. Of course, since I'm using a hand cannon and a sidearm, I chose those those champion mods, and I chose the champion stunning thing, press the advantage, stuff like that. But the main 4 that you should use are Galvanic Armor, Radiant Orbs, Shield Crush, and Transference. Yes, we already have a lot of Radiant because we're getting melee final blows and hits, which gives us and our teammates Radiant. But, you know, getting it from Orbs isn't going to hurt, you know? So there's that. And then, you know, Galvanic Armor, it makes Amplified a little bit better, which is very helpful. Shield Crush, it's just nice to have. Transference, very good to have. Lets us throw grenades more, and it lets us use our melee more, which does more damage because we're in Transcendence. You know, it's very good. Then, armor mods. Let's talk about the important stuff when it comes to armor mods. Yes, there's the siphons. Match that with your surge. Whatever you gotta do to do things. You know, the classics. Recuperation is just kind of like the most basic one. Pick up an orb. You get healed to Reaper. Also, just a classic one. You should probably just grab it. Recuperation isn't the most necessary thing in the world because you are, you know, getting a kill with Devour, healing, and if you're in lower end content, it's not as necessary, but, you know, it's still really nice to have the option. But for, let's just give 3 mods that I would highly suggest you use with this build. Heavy-handed, you're going to get a lot of melee kills, so being able to make orbs off of those kills, very nice and helpful. Momentum transfer, deal damage with your grenade. Even cold snap grenades will work for this. Will give you melee energy. Threadling grenades should, but I know there for a bit they weren't working. So keep an eye on that, but cold snap should work for that. And then invigoration, pick up an orb, get melee energy. And yeah, that's basically the build. You can change things here and there with your mods, like of course your resistances, you could choose that. Try to get your stats, of course, 100 resilience, get high recovery, worry about strength more than discipline or intelligence, of course. Because, you know, you go into a group of enemies, you lightning surge, any of them that die, leave necrotic grip blooms, and you just deal extra dot damage on enemies that are jolted from lightning surge. And it's really nice. You know, you break the jolt barrier, they start zapping each other, and it just spirals from there. Everything leaves necrotic grip blooms, and you just keep the train going, keep Devour up so you stay alive. You have grenades, so you can freeze things with cold snaps, run in there, lightning surge, kill everything with shatter, jolt, and necrotic. It's really good. And when you need to charge energy, you pull out your posterity, shoot a couple things, you get melee energy, you get light damage towards transcendence, pull out the call to fill up your darkness if you haven't been shattering enough or unraveling enough with arcane needles, and you're good to go. Like, this is a really fun build, and it just works. Prismatic Warlock is an absolute slapper, and it makes me sad that Prismatic Titan is the way it is. Prismatic Warlock slaps. Anyways, this is a little out there, not super out there, but a little bit out there build. I know a lot of people aren't running Lightning Surge on Prismatic Warlock. They're running like everybody possible, which is still really cool. Go ahead and do that. It's really fun. But yeah, here's a little bit different of a build, the Lightning Surge build. I have a lot of fun with it. I hope you do too. Super fun build. Don't take it too seriously though. And yeah, that's going to be about it for this build video. Please comment down below any builds you're having fun with. Maybe not the greatest builds ever made, but, you know, fun ones. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. And if you are so inclined, why don't you hit that join button, right? Haha, yeah. Anyways, Advanced GG. I am an ambassador. So if you use my code Spycer10, you'll get 10% off your order, and they'll pay me for it. So if you want the same energy drinks I use on a regular basis, go check out Advanced GG and use my referral link down in my pinned comment down below. Use the referral code Spycer10 for 10% off. I get a kickback off of that. Advanced GG hasn't left me with the jitters from caffeine. It hasn't made me crash. It is nice, sustainable energy. Okay? I love Advanced GG. I use it almost every day, and I have for the past 2 years. It's nice. I really like it. Great flavors in my opinion. Yeah, some of my favorite flavors, Rocket Pop. I just tried the cotton candy. It's really good. Magic Sherbet, really good. Cherry Limeade, I could keep going. Guava berry. Anyways, that's it for me shilling. Remember, I kind of get paid to say this, but I've also been saying it before I became an ambassador for Advanced GG. So, you know, if that means anything, I've been saying it for years. Anyways, bye.